Well, good morning. Here it is. It's Thursday morning, October the 21st, and hope that you had a good night's sleep, and I hope you're ready to tackle this day. This morning, I want to talk about a devotional entitled "Storm Tossed." And in Matthew 14, verse 24, it says, "But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary." You know, we've talked about before, storms will come into our lives, as Christians. And, they come in the form of, calamities, hardships, medical issues, marital problems, legal issues, and many more, too numerous to sit here and name off. But, there are three kinds of storms that we'll face. There are perfecting storms, protecting storms, and correcting storms. Now, when God allows hardship, to come into your life, to make you stronger spiritually, that's a perfecting storm. It's what Job went through. When Job lost everything, was tested, and Satan, destroyed everything that he had. And the Bible tells us how to face, that kind of a storm. In James chapter 1, verse 2, it says, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience." Now, it didn't say enjoy, but it said we can have joy, in our hearts, even through those various trials. Now, next, there are the, what's called protecting storms. That's the type of storm, the disciples, they experienced when, they were on the Sea of Galilee. Jesus, he had just performed, his most popular miracle to date, the feeding of the 5,000 plus, people. But you see, he essentially told his disciples, get into the boat, we're getting out of here. And then Matthew tells us, in Matthew 14:24, I'll read it again, "But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary." Jesus, he had delivered his disciples from what would have been a great deal of adulation, which would have created a lot of problems. And as a result, they endured a protecting storm. And then finally, we have, correcting storms are what we effectively bring upon ourselves, as we reap the consequences of our actions. You remember Jonah, he was in a correcting storm. And, he brought it all upon himself by disobeying the Lord. The Lord had told him to go to Nineveh, and he went the opposite direction. He tried to flee from it. And so as a result, he spent 3 days and 3 nights, in the belly of a massive fish. Maybe you're in one of those storms right now, and we all go through them. Here's the good news about storms. They have a beginning, they have a middle, and they have an end. And maybe your storm maybe it's been raging, for a while, for some time. But you know what? You might be at the end of it. And so don't give up and don't lose hope. That's what my prayer is for you today. If you're going through one of those storms, is to not give up. Keep the faith and continue serving God, no matter what. That's what the Apostle Paul, talked about in a lot of his writings was, he kept the faith by continuing to do what God had instructed him to do, and that was taking the gospel to all people. And, even when he was chained, in prison sometimes, he'd be chained to a guard, and he would tell that guard about Jesus. That's the way we need to be. No matter what circumstances, whatever storm we're going through, is we need to be willing to do, what God has called us to do, and that's sharing the love of Christ with all people. And so I hope that helps you this morning. I hope that you're encouraged by God's word. Hope you're ready to have a good day. Remember, Angie and I love you guys. We're praying for you. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless you.